edition of Lisa Conversations. We're here with Phelan, and he's going to tell us about his first time at the Lisa conference, which happened just last week. Hi, Phelan. Hi, Tom. How are you doing?
Great, Lee. How are you?
I'm doing well. So,
Welcome,
Phelan, we met last week, had a great conversation, and I wanted to get your impressions for the record, as it were.
For the record.
For the record. Yes, this is going on your permanent record, young man.
Yeah.
So give us some quick impressions of the conference.
So it was great. First of all, I'm really glad that I went. Overall impressions were very positive. It was a lot of fun. I got to meet a lot of people in the industry, and it was actually like my first professional conference as well. So that was pretty cool. Met a lot of interesting people, such as yourself. Learned a lot of interesting things. Impressions were very positive.
Excellent. Go ahead, Tom. You had a question.
So what was? Tell us what were your favorite talks?
So probably my favorite talk was the Ted's Linux performance tuning talk, which was like a full day event, and he delved quite deeply into a lot of things that I had very little to no knowledge of previous to going in, so it was very educational. That was probably my favorite talk.
So was that a talk or part of the training sessions?
I think it was actually part of the training sessions. It was on, I think, Monday, which I think was a full training session day. So was.
Oh, excellent.
And I'm just curious, what's your technical background like? Did you feel that do you classify yourself as a beginner? Was the class matched to what you were expecting? That kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess I should say. So I would say I'm not a beginner. I'm an SRE at Google. I work on in apps. I would say that the class was probably not appropriate for a beginner, but it wasn't advertised as such, so I don't think that would have been a problem. It was more in-depth and technical than probably an introductory overview or survey would have been.
Mm-hmm. Did you do training the entire week, or did you attend any of the conference sessions, any of the talks?
I did some of the conference sessions too. I went to a Puppet configuration one, as well as a sysdig and like container analysis talk as well. Mm-hmm. So I had a little mix of both.
Any advice you would give to a first-time attendee at a Lisa conference?
I would say definitely plan out what you want to see before you go there. I made a little spreadsheet and mapped out exactly what I wanted to go see. And it was actually kind of difficult because a few times or a few days there were sessions that like conflicted with each other, and I really wanted to see like both of them, but I had to choose one or whatever. So it's good to make those decisions beforehand and have a plan of attack, as it were.
Yeah, one of the. Oh wow, I'm getting an echo. Sync is off, I'm told. So I'm just going to talk through this really disturbing echo in my ear. And hopefully it's not recorded bad. So one of the challenges we have, of course, is giving 1,000 attendees all of the interesting things to do. So almost always there will be overlap, and there'll be, I had too many things to do, which we like much better than, well, I'm bored. What you got for me now? So it's a delicate balancing act, but yeah, we tend to go for let's put a whole bunch of things in there so that the beginner, the intermediate, the advanced, the network admin, the sysadmin, et cetera, can all find interesting value. In terms of the conference format, anything you would say to newcomers that they should be aware of?
Probably be aware of the difference between the trainings and the actual conferences. I guess I didn't read very closely when I was originally making my plot. I didn't realize that they were part of like different, corpus that you had to pick from both sides. So just be aware of like what the thing that you want to go to is. Is it a training or is it a conference? And then plan your thing accordingly.
Sure. That's a really good point. The first couple days of the conference, usually Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, are the training sessions, and these are paid instructors. It's usually very long format, half day or full day trainings that are very high quality because these are professional people, and they're often the people that invented the open source tool or whatever that's being talked about. And then starting Wednesday, it becomes a very different conference with anywhere from half hour to longer sessions, invited talks, papers, that kind of thing. Also, another somewhat confusing aspect is on concurrent with the Sunday, Monday, Tuesday part is the workshops, which are often kind of either open forums or how would you describe them, Lee?
Well, as the workshop coordinator, guilty. My main way of differentiating workshops from tutorials is a one-to-many kind of thing. It's where an instructor comes in and says, I have this knowledge here, now you have this knowledge, and usually has tutorial materials that you can read along and take notes, etc. Workshops are generally many-to-many. It's where a bunch of people who are interested in a topic will sit down and actually discuss the topic in as much depth as they can. Usually workshops are not intended for junior admins because they don't have a lot of experience in the topic, so they're not going to get as much out of a workshop. It's aimed more at we've been doing this thing for a while now, let's codify it and try and make it so that other people can approach it. Or the configuration management tracks and stuff all came out of configuration management workshops where the movers and shakers in that industry got together for many conferences in a row and worked out taxonomies and worked out ideas that were then presented to everyone else as a longer-term thought-out project. We may be redefining workshops next year. I don't know. That's a discussion that I'm having with the chairs now.
Mm-hmm. But no matter what, I think you really captured it with the workshops being many-to-many.
Phelan, you were going to say?
Yeah, I was just going to say that the workshops were one of the things that I did not avail myself of this year, which I am planning on rectifying next year. So
cool.
So we've only got a couple of minutes left in the scheduled conversation. Do you have any last thoughts, Phelan, before we ask you the famous 3 questions?
Last thoughts. It was, like I said, definitely worth it. It gave me a better idea of the state of the industry. You can get a little bit lost in the weeds in your own company sometimes. So it was good to see what other people were doing and talk to them.
Okay, Tom, you want to start the famous 3?
Sure, and that means I have to remember them, right? So the first question is, what was your first computer that you owned or used?
Oh man, I wish I could say something cool and I don't know, classic, but I think it was probably a Dell something or other from the 90s or something ridiculous. I was very proud of it, and
was it DOS or Windows?
It was Windows. It was not DOS.
Okay.
Yeah.
That narrows it down.
Yeah. Yeah, it was
Awesome.
some sort of Dell, and I used it to play games, and I promised I would use it to play or do homework, and that was not true.
Great. The second question is, have you ever had the opportunity to press the big red button in a data center that powers everything off?
No, oh God, I do not want to have that power, but listening to hilarious and terrifying stories of SREs here, some people do, so maybe one day I will get to push that button. But
Great.
no.
And Lee, do you want to ask our last question?
Sure. Who was your favorite computer scientist or most inspiring computer-related book that you've read?
So my favorite computer scientist is probably Grace Hopper, and her nanosecond string trick, among her other things. Yeah, she's I mean, Turing is pretty awesome too, but I think Grace Hopper is probably my favorite, for sure.
There's the original nanosecond wire is actually at I think it's the U.S. Naval Observatory. It's in a Navy museum as opposed to the Smithsonian. They're discussing what to do with it because it's actually in a drawer as opposed to on display. I just saw a little bit of footage about it last week. It was quite interesting, and yeah, I have to say she's definitely an inspiring person. So thank you very much for joining us. I appreciate you being willing to take time out of your day based on a simple conversation at a conference.
Of course.
Tom, thanks also for joining us. And Julie, thanks for organizing this as always. We will have our regularly scheduled Lisa conversation next Tuesday, and we're not telling you anything more than that. So you'll just have to join us to find out. Thanks, everyone, and have a great afternoon.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, Evan.